Hello, I'm Rhonda Steinke McDonald. I'm a well-being specialist and I'm very happy to be here today as part of the Life in Balance series. I'm going to be helping you consider how to create a grace space. A grace space is a prepared environment for making change. We all know change is inevitable. Not all change is in our control, but much of it is in life. A grace space begins with self-examination or assessment. We are not likely to change what we cannot see or will not see. And when we are doing self-examination, we might open ourselves up to getting input from others, as a blind spot can be one of those things that prevents us from not being able to see what change is needed. When we are practicing self-examination or assessment of another person or a relationship, we definitely want to be focused in on a grace-filled sense of judgment. A graceless judgment is going to harm rather than help. Another element of a grace space is the spirit of humility. Being perfect was never really an option. As soon as we can settle ourselves out in that, a sense of peacefulness and actual strength returns to us. Every one of our mistakes can be recycled. This is true of us, this is true of others. This is like creating human compost. And from our humanity, we can recycle, we can learn the lesson and keep what is valuable from that lesson. Ultimately, we want to be able to be peaceful in the face of failure. Now let me tell you about the most uncomfortable aspect of creating a grace space. As a 35-year veteran of education, I want to tell you something I learned at the beginning of my career, and it's based on the work of Jean Piaget, a theorist in the field of learning. He described a condition called disequilibrium, and it's just as uncomfortable as it sounds. For any real learning to take place in life, we have to experience being unbalanced. Now I know this is called Life in Balance series, but this is maybe the only time you should welcome imbalance. You are going to have to let go of one trapeze bar you were holding on to. You're going to have to tumble forward in a state of unknowing, the disequilibrium, to be able to grasp on to the new concept, the new information, the new way of being that's coming to you. It will feel uncomfortable. It's one of the reasons people don't want to change, but this is the threshold of all learning. Despite the discomfort, there is a value here. So the goal of disequilibrium is to recognize the discomfort or the sense of unease you will have because you do want to let go of what no longer serves in order to grasp the new in creating a grace space. That's the whole purpose of it. You want to cultivate a mindset that will have you as easily resting in a sense of gentle expectation as it does in a willingness to be ready to embrace whatever new thing may appear. Now when something fresh appears, you can observe it, possibly embrace it if it seems that it will serve you, or let it go by. To illustrate this philosophy, I have a two-hand approach. And on one hand, for the gentle expectation, I picture the powers that be asking me, ask and you shall receive. And I say what I hope and what I want. But at the same time, I recognize it might not be my will, but thy will. And then I can be there if in Act 3, Scene 2, I'm supposed to stand on X spot. I can be there and I can take what's coming and I can accept it as this is part of my destiny. Now, the whole purpose of a grace space is for all of us to rise together and to allow one another to rise in whatever condition we might currently be in. That's the purpose of a grace space. Within the grace space, we want to be bound together, and that's the best way for us to move forward. This takes acceptance of one another. It takes the type of inclusiveness that says everyone can be a member. The lovely, the unlovely. The tricky part This is as much about ourselves as it is about others. We want to find a sense of wholeness, be able to accept what is. That's what grace is. One thing that will help you is considering the golden rule. The golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, works both ways. It's a two-way device. Some of us, if we treat others the way we treat ourselves, we would be doing them a disservice. We're too harsh, maybe perfectionistic. We need to back off of that. Part of the grace space is this pervasive, gentle kindness, and we want it for everyone and ourselves. For others, they still are taking much better care of themselves than they're willing to extend to the outside world. So for you, you want to take it inside of yourself and say, where do I fit in that? Am I treating myself or others better? And whoever is getting the best treatment right now, you want to migrate that habit over and let it go that other way. Being just is the goal. We want to have the same rules for everyone, and we want grace and mercy to guide us forward. We're going to let the new day be fresh for all. I owned a school for 17 years that welcomed students who did not do well in a traditional classroom. You can imagine the clashing cymbals that occur in a classroom with children who are very uncomfortable being there. At one point, a staff member came to me with a strong concern. She recognized she was not having an open heart to the children and was becoming resentful with some of them. She asks me, what can we do? I came up with a little thing we would do each morning. I would say it's a prayer. We would say very sincerely, God, if you happen to do a miracle since we last saw so-and-so, who's now walking up the stairs, please create a space in my heart where I will welcome and nourish that new change and not be the enemy by remembering who they've been in the past. Essentially, we were saying, if a miracle has occurred, let me see as you see. Miracles followed. By taking this habit into yourself, you will want to hit the refresh button as swiftly and as often as necessary. When we are working with children, many times parents will give a consequence of a timeout. We sometimes need to give someone in our sphere a timeout. We need a break from them. But that timeout should last just as long as it takes for that person to want to rejoin the tribe. We extend this inclusivity with this fresh start, and this is how a grace space is created. The grace space that we're talking about today, that you can create, that I can create, that we can create for one another, is the absolute most fertile place for change to occur, to be planted, and to bloom. I hope you will take this inside of you, make something of it for yourself, for those you love, for those you don't love. It's been an honor talking with you today. If you'd like to know more about my work, please visit me at my website. This practice of creating a grace space will make your life and living sweeter. Even if it doesn't change anyone else, it will benefit you. You will have that wonderful richness, and being with you will be more of a pleasure. Be prepared to lavish grace on everyone you see. Thank you for sharing this time with me today, and I want to thank New Age Hippie for inviting me to be part of the Life in Balance series.